Yo, it's ODB from OLP. This is issue 151 of Mini Truckin Magazine, July 2004. It's a good one. This, you could see there, custom S10 V8 swap, Mike Alexander. You have Ford versus Chevy, which obviously is going to help potentially drive some sales. That's always like the, maybe not the oldest rivalry in the world, but it's definitely one of the biggest, of course, in the automotive world. You got the Mini Truckin logo here and kind of sitting there behind the truck. So very nice work done on the cover to kind of do some of the overlays and things like that. Again, like I always say, ironic how a lot of this stuff would be much easier these days because of the tools that we have. We can see the Lexani wheels there. Lance shot this cover, and let's jump right in. If you like what we're doing here, please leave a comment or consider subscribing. Definitely appreciate it. If you know anybody else that would appreciate the content, share it with them. You got MIC with the inside front cover ad. And here you go. This is Austen Seaholm's body dropped Ranger, of course. He was a professional, according to this, professional skateboarder. And that ties into the pretty sick cover, or excuse me, the main layout that we'll see. This truck, ironically, just re-emerged from, I believe, an enclosed trailer after a 10-plus year hiatus. You can imagine this is 19 years ago, so it's been off the scene a while. You got a couple of features from Mike Alexander when he was at Blood Drag, and again, I believe these were shot at Blood Drag 04, I believe, which would coincide a couple months later and them getting the content out. Definitely have a little over 100 issues to go to get through the original run of the magazine. What's a mini trucker? Lance kind of ties that in, and he talks a little bit about here. Next time you see a kid at a show, some punk kid hovering around asking questions, try not to rip his head off. Spend some time with him. Keep his enthusiasm up. Often talked about, is the younger generation getting involved in what we do? Some of y'all have kids, and they are. Other kids don't want anything to do with it. But to me, if someone's interested in it, it's definitely worth trying to get them, maybe hooked or answer their questions, if nothing else. Here you see Low Life Mikey's Low Life video. That's one that I own. And you can see there they had Mike and Oliver. That might have been pre-Domination days. We got to get Oliver on. He's on that short list as well to do, basically I got the next 5 to 6 episodes hemmed up already, which is kind of crazy because that's going to bring us through almost the whole year. Here's Potent Plaything, Godfather Customs. So the one thing that was a little ironic to me about this cover, the Ford vs. Chevy, I don't know that it was played up a whole bunch in here. You basically have mostly, S10s and Rangers that are featured. But as you can see, this truck here, indoor feature shoot, it was shot by Sport Truck Magazine. So I'm assuming John O'Neill, I know he was helping over there. Maybe it wasn't John, but this was by John. So I just don't know why they wouldn't just put the name. Maybe there was a technicality on the credit or whatever, but we know they would do that if somebody left a magazine, but don't technically know who shot it unless someone chimes in and happens to know. Here's a tech article. Again, you can always pause this and take screen grabs if you need. Bump it to 4K. As you know, YouTube automatically, I think, has a setting where it's like optimized, so based upon your bandwidth. Here's Battle of the Best 2. And this was in Vegas. You can see Steel Flame right there. Pretty cool to know that truck is still out there doing the damn thing. If you like what we're doing here, not only leaving a thumbs up, but many of you will leave a comment, even if it's just an emoji. But comments and that interaction with the page definitely help, and I appreciate that. Here is a sure thing. This was Kenneth Foley's 97 Ford Ranger. And right in front of this fence right here is where Mike Alexander, of course, shot this feature, but many trucks, including John from Tailgate, as well as Travis Nowak when he was shooting for Truckin, he'd come down from time to time. A lot of features were shot right there on the pavement in front of said fence. Pretty cool. And you can see super clean, going back almost 20 years. I mean, look at the bed, even though a lot of the stuff was concealed up near the cab. I always really, dug the clean beds like that, especially with the bed liner material sprayed down. My 90 Mazda has that, a pretty nice home. I think it's a home kit in the bed liner. It just looks so good. V8 conversion 101. So I believe that was Mike's S10 at the time. He was really pushing the limits. Things started to get crazy. Everybody was doing, trying to one-up each other. Not that an engine, swap was like the craziest thing, but, that led to, full shape firewall, full shape this, bigger wheels, bigger that. And it just really took off from there for anybody that's been involved in the scene a while, you may recall. I'm trying to keep these efficient. I know some of them go a little bit longer than others. So here we have Lance, and this is pretty cool. I do assume that he's, not exactly right there, right? I mean, this was a photo that was superimposed into that, you would assume, but I dig it. What I like about it is, boom, look, he's doing the kickflip, and he's got the MIC board. So sick. I really dig when they do features like this, so that was cool. But Crusin's Not a Crime, and this is a 93 Ford Ranger Edge. 03, excuse me, not 93, 03. I was going to say, it's not a 93. But, maybe not the most remembered MIC truck because they built so many iconic trucks. I mean, where do you rank this one? Is this one at the top of the list? Is this one maybe middle? Certainly, I think the craftsmanship and stuff was there. It had a lot done to it, but remember this era, like mid-2000s, things are a little bit different, right? And I mean, it's what the customer wanted. So, you'll see some things, obviously, like, even crew cut with the seats and things like that originally. But you see the skateboard holder and some of the work done underneath the bed cover. Or not the bed cover, just in the bed of the truck, rather. And then, of course, the skulls that Rob, dug, and you see the MIC sticker there under. But there you go. There he is doing a kickflip. So really, Lance or someone could chime in, and I certainly could be wrong. That literally could be, but maybe what they did is maybe he's kickflipping down here, and they just kind of took him out, and he looks bigger, if that makes sense, where he's at. But certainly, I think this is a cool, being that he's a professional skateboarder, MIC deck, if nothing else, a sticker on there, or superimposed, but it looks like it's on there. Just to me, it's super dope. Cruisin's Not a Crime, kind of playing off that whole low riding is not a crime. And just a Ford Ranger that, to me, definitely was going to help, potentially sell issues and was a cool build. Here's Resolutions 04. So remember, this would have been December 03 going into January 04. So sometimes trying to figure out those dates do get a little confusing. It seems like Rezo started to taper off some. And then I think he ceased it, and then it came back. So it's one of those shows that has a long history. And I'm glad I got to go to one. Of course, that was the Severed 10th. And, you think about Severed started in 9 Deuce, 10 years later, 02. So I think it was 02 into 03 is when we had our shindig. Oliver's Toyota, I believe. It's funny, like, I'll see some of these trucks sometimes and I'm like, wait, I think I know what that is. And then I don't want to say something because I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. But check out, always dug the Tacoma, these years. Just, looking back on just how basic they were. I mean, I really dig the style, especially of that build, before many trucks started getting pretty crazy in terms of mid-size and a lot more technology added to them. This Ranger was one I always liked as well. I kind of just, and I think I saw that one when I went. But I always love the graphics just kind of be in the lower portion. There's another nice Ranger. So they're kind of loading it up with some Rangers here. Extreme lows, repping a topper. And this thing was always sick. I always dug that back window. And then topless Mazda. But you can see so far, they're kind of playing up the Ford versus Chevy, you know, just obviously, again, slapping that, you know, you can imagine someone in marketing kind of saying, hey, we need to do something to maybe boost sales or, you know, maybe get an uptick here or there. What you're seeing mostly is so far, you know, Ford and Chevy features. Here's Matthew Trout's 90 S10 Blazer from Conklin, Missouri, Scared of Heights. So shout out to Scared of Heights. Saw a couple of those dudes cruising. Didn't really get a chance to chat with them a lot at Mini Nats this year, but Feed Me, I believe that's still the tag that's on it. And again, this thing sat in a trailer for a while. My understanding, if I remember correctly, in the last week or two, literally it popped up, and some of the bigger pages have shared it. The West Side, A Decade of Enthusiasm. And again, I think like this feature's pretty cool because you got the front 3/4 shot, you got the rear shot, you know, you add in, and just with the layout itself, how they, you know, wrap this around, you know, you just take what could be maybe a cool feature and make it even better. Suicide Solutions, I believe, is technically what is on the back. And you can see just a lot of work in this thing. You can see it is right-hand drive. That might throw you off here. I was thinking, you know, I always double check myself and go, is it a reverse photo? But certainly right-hand drive there. You can see it back here. If you know the truck, obviously you know, but just like to kind of point that out. Your mind is not playing tricks on you. The paint job, I think, was sick. Again, kind of an underrated build. Because it's got a lot of work in it. Love the clear windows, but being, you know, from an East Coast build, you know, that one is one that definitely, in my opinion, has stood the test of time. So check it out, Great Plates. This is another place where I would always realize that North Carolina had the extra character. Many states had 7. They had 8. I think West Virginia maybe did 2 as well. I always joke with Brandon Burrell about that. There's 7, and then You Ain't Low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Boom. Pretty cool, especially if you're trying to do a certain thing. Again, you see that same fence. Justin Smith, 85 GMC S15 from Webster, Florida. Pretty cool. Acrophobia. We just saw Acrophobia really have, you know, back-to-back covers. And then, oh, by the way, they had other features in that last issue, which again is pretty cool if you really think about it, because they were really, and they still are, they're still hitting, you know, out there. But you think about kind of the mid-2000s, a lot of features, a lot of awesome builds. And even if their stuff wasn't featured, it was still cool to see at shows. There's a Heat Wave, kind of that older artwork that you don't see as much. That might have been Pat Maxwell. Here's Construction Zone. Tyson Cleland. I don't know if that's the correct spelling of his name. But Extreme Lows. This thing was always cool. Want to say I saw it that maybe the year I went to Rezo. I could be wrong. But pretty cool. Extra cab with the suicide doors, and then boom, topless. Extended cab topless with the top on it. I've said this before, one of my least favorite mods, you know, shaving those windows. This one's a little bit different. Dare I say, I could roll with that because, you know, you can go topless. But, you know, certainly that's just my opinion. And what's my opinion really mean? So I tell people, don't get offended at my opinion. I don't want to get offended at your opinions. But I think that is a cool truck. I dig it. Anything that's topless, in terms of trucks, I dig it. And other stuff. Lincolns. Mini Truckin graffiti, so check out this. You got the full page. You got a C-notch. You got paint going down. That Mini Truckin logo that we're on now. The Phantom Grill, though. And that's going to almost wrap us up. So Austen Seaholm's Yellow and Green Ford Ranger, issue 151, July 2004. MIC built. Shout out to Rob Maggi. Rob was on the podcast this year, one of my favorite guests ever. Check us out. OLP, you guys know, many of you chime in, go, hey, I listen on Pandora, some on Spotify, some on Apple Podcasts, some on iHeartRadio. You name it. If there's a platform that we're not on, send me an email, ourlifestylepodcast@gmail.com, and I'll do my best to get it out there. But for the most part, it's out there. Sometimes they batch to YouTube, sometimes they don't. Next issue, Desert Runners, coming up August 2004. Stay on the rise, my friends. Appreciate each and every one of you. Even the haters, I love them all. Stay on the rise. Where's the model at, though? Peace.